There is a specific, quiet moment every family eventually faces. It's the realization that an aging parent or loved one can no longer navigate their daily life safely on their own. The immediate instinct is to keep them exactly where they are. We want them in their home, eating food they grew up on, speaking their first language, and waking up to familiar routines to preserve their dignity. Most families turn to the logical first step to make this happen: traditional third-party payers like health insurance or government programs. But relying on these systems introduces immediate friction. Families run headfirst into lengthy eligibility applications, strict intake processes, and waitlists that stretch on for months before any help arrives. Even when care is finally approved, it is often restricted. Insurance companies dictate the level of support through rigid service lists and pre-approved hour caps, rather than the actual daily, practical needs of the patient. And when a caregiver is eventually assigned, the choice is usually based entirely on schedule availability. The system rarely accounts for personality, shared interests, or cultural fit. In this traditional model, the payer holds the leverage. Families end up surrendering their agency and control at the exact moment they need it most. There is an alternative structural approach to this process. It involves funding the care directly out of pocket, a model known as private pay. By removing the insurance company from the equation, you bypass the authorization process entirely. The bureaucratic barriers instantly disappear. Agencies that specialize in this model, like cottage home care, demonstrate how bypassing third parties shifts the entire dynamic of support. Paying directly is a mechanism for families to buy back total control over their loved one's health, timeline, and daily happiness. The need for home care rarely arrives on a convenient schedule. It is usually triggered by a sudden crisis, like a fall, or a post-surgery hospital discharge, where a patient cannot go home to an empty house. Traditional insurance waiting periods are incompatible with these emergencies. Private pay solves this through what agencies call a rapid start. The timeline is compressed to a matter of hours. A family makes a phone call, receives a free in-home assessment, and a caregiver is deployed within 24 to 48 hours. Controlling the timeline prevents a panicked, forced move to a rehabilitation facility. It guarantees the patient can begin their recovery immediately, in the comfort of their own bed. Reclaiming time is only the first step. The second variable families control is exactly who walks through their front door. Instead of accepting whoever is available on a roster, families experience precision matching. They interview 2 or 3 candidates and hold the ultimate veto power over the selection. This choice requires intense vetting. Premium providers turn away over 95% of applicants, accepting fewer than 1 in 20. Drawing from this elite group lets families select for specific needs, matching a caregiver to a parent's first language, dietary traditions, and distinct personality. The final piece of control is the care plan itself. Without insurance restrictions, there are no predefined lists of what a caregiver is allowed to do. The services can scale instantly. A family can start with a few hours of light companionship a week and increase to 24/7, live-in specialized care without filling out a single adjustment form or waiting for an approval board. True autonomy means the care scales to fit the reality of a patient's evolving life, not the strict limits of an insurance spreadsheet. There is a persistent assumption that paying directly for home care is a luxury reserved entirely for the ultra-wealthy. It's built for the missing middle, families just above Medicaid limits needing immediate home care. They use private pay as a stopgap while awaiting Medicaid approval. Once approved, funding switches seamlessly, and they keep the exact same trusted caregiver. Taking control of the timeline, the caregiver, and the scope of care reorients the entire experience. It takes a highly stressful life crisis and turns it into a manageable, peaceful transition. Ultimately, real care is about treating people like family. Paying directly is simply the most effective tool to ensure a loved one lives their later years safely and entirely on their own terms.